We are live on our Facebook group. Hey guys, as you're hopping on, I know so many of you are so excited for today. I have to admit, I've been waiting for this day in our challenge, but we have had incredible speakers. Hello, everybody jumping on in our Facebook group, and we are connecting now with our Zoom link. We have 2 platforms of a lot of people coming together for this 21-day challenge. Hey, everybody jumping on. Can we just start with a thumbs up? And I am ready for today. You guys are going to come away with so much information. Now, a lot of you have been emailing me offline or DMing me that this has been one of the greatest challenges you've ever been on. And as you know, we've given this to you as a free challenge that you have access for 24 hours in that group to watch our speakers over and over. But I just want to keep reiterating, I want to encourage you, it's just $19.99, and you know that's 95 cents a day, to make sure that you are downloading this journal. It's so helpful to keep you on track for wise behavior and good decisions. So guys, value yourself, do it. And then I am just in honor of our challenge. Hey Josh, I know you're on. How you like my shirt?
Love it. Awesome.
Energize. I thought about sending you one. I just have to, if it's cool enough for you to wear. Pretty cool, right? Right? We are excited about today. So guys, again, make sure that you are getting your journal. You can get the shirt. We've got the gym bag, a lot of opportunities for you to stay energized. So I'm going to welcome our guest, my son, Josh Hotsenpiller. A lot of you guys know Josh. If you're a part of Influence Church, he has spoken at our church numerous times and one of the favorites for sure. But he was my first person to ask on this challenge because he is such a thought leader. He is such a strategy thinker. Now, stay with me for 1 minute before Josh gets ready to download great wisdom. Guys, when we put this together, it was a 21-day challenge for you to be whole body, soul, and spirit. So we have brought on people like, remember when we had Cynthia and she walked through physical fitness, training, exercise, water, all the nutritional side. And we brought on Virginia Dixon, who talked to us about brain science and our thoughts and our mind. Dr. Increase, that talked to us about having a mind of prosperity. It literally has been an array on this platform of people that are showing you all the different dimensions of your life and how you elevate your energy by choice, by decision in all of these different areas. And one way I think that I elevate my energy is when I have an idea, I have a business. My kids all know I've had more businesses. I think, Josh, you actually said to me, Mom, you've had more business cards than there are businesses available. And so I want to just start by first thanking my son. He's in the middle of lots of work today, and he took a few moments to join us, but thank you for joining us. And just a thumbs up and a welcome to Josh. So let's jump right in. Your topic today is reinvention for energy. How do we reinvent ourselves and stay energized in the midst of reinvention? Let's talk about that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I got a bit of your, DNA on this, entrepreneur, self-starter, and it's been my story. I first came out and started a church in San Diego, and but a few years into that, I just started feeling restless. And it wasn't because of the calling. It wasn't because of the mission. I mean, the mission of the local church is beyond parallel. But for me, I'm a creator, I'm a starter. And that stuff, every time I get into something new, it creates energy in me. And I think it's never been more on display than in this unprecedented season of reality. And I don't know if we want to jump fully into that or not, but yeah, I can remember when, and you can steer this however you want, but I'm just kind of rolling into it. But when everything happened with COVID, we were, we had just decided to remodel our house. So our entire center of our house was blown. It was a kitchen. So our entire kitchen is in plastic. We literally have a microwave in our kids' bathroom. And, all of a sudden the president gets on and says, hey, nobody from China can come here. Nobody from the UK can come here. And then all of a sudden, Tom Hanks has COVID. So if Tom Hanks has COVID, we're all screwed. Like, this is bad news. So I'm sitting here in my house. NBA cancels the games. Everybody's got it. My house is torn apart. And I, like probably a lot of folks, freaked out. I thought, man, I'm a dad. Am I going to be able to provide for my family? How much savings do I have? How long can I go unemployed for? I'm a small business owner, so I employ people. I saw a lot of my friends lose their companies overnight. And I noticed something during that time. I noticed that when crisis hits, no matter what it is, people fight or flight, right? And what I noticed so many people do was flight. They emotionally just took off. They buried themselves. They panicked. They feared. And I've watched over the last several months, several friends of mine that I'm close to go into some serious depression. They begin to get more recluse. They begin to put weight on. They begin to get irritated and agitated. And they've just, cocooned in during this time. And I think I took a different approach. I fought. And I fought through reinvention. And I looked at it and I said, man, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen with my companies, but I'm not going to sit around to find out. And we can get more into it later, but during COVID, we started 2 new companies. One company is in the pet space, and we raised $500,000 to launch a new product to work with veterinarians and patients. And another one was in the virtual world for all these associations and meetings and events that were falling apart and couldn't do physical anymore. We created a product. Yeah. And with under 120 days, we raised $500,000, started a new company, got $500,000 in contracts. And so we created $1 million of opportunity in 100 days. And thank God, CrowdHub grew 30% in that time. All that to say, not to say anything more than just to say, when you have those moments to fight or flight, who are you? How do you react? And I think when we talk about energy through reinvention, we got, our gym in our home. We created a gym. And we're like, all right, we're going to start working out, and we're going to start new structures, and we're going to start new companies, and we're going to reinvent and create all this energy, positive energy, instead of talking about all this stuff that we can't control. So I'm one of those guys. It's like, you're not going to get me talking about COVID and politics and all that kind of stuff, because it's not my deal. It's not my control. I'm going to talk about creating new opportunities, changing the way the world works, providing value to a new economy and a new consumer. I'm going to spend my time doing that because that's something I can do, and it energizes me versus makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm carrying this burden I can't control. So big mind dump. We can unpack a lot of that, but that's a little bit of kind of like where my world's been in the last 120 days.
Yeah, and we've obviously watched it firsthand, Mom, Dad, and we've just watched you. So I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. And that's why I wanted you on here, because all the hundreds of people that are watching this need to hear this. So here's the question. Yeah, that's great for you, Josh. You're a self-starter and you're an entrepreneur and you're an inventor, but what about me? I'm a 6 on the Enneagram. I'm the kind that I'm a little fearful and I'm cautious, and I might admire what you're doing, but how do I break through my mindset and even my personality to take risk?
So here's a little news flash for everybody that's just listed 5 reasons why you can't do everything. I'm scared every day. I almost adult cried yesterday. I was just so stressed. I had so much going on, and the emotions were just going. We have so many different things colliding at one time, and I am scared. Okay, so everyone's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. That's a bunch of garbage, man. Every single person on here now, we deal with fear different. We express fear different. So the first thing I want to tell you is that everyone's scared. Everyone's scared. I work with some of the biggest clients in the world, and I could show you their emails where the fear is just, I'll get some of the craziest emails from these people because they're scared to death. And fear is something that nobody's immune from. So this whole notion of, well, I would do it, but I'm scared, so therefore I get a pass. I call, what's the appropriate word? No, I don't buy that. I think every single person has fear. So that's the first thing. Yeah. You don't get a pass because you're scared. Everyone's scared. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do. Nobody knows what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I just got off a call. I told you, I was like, I'm putting out a fire before I get on here. I'm going to do everything I can to get on here 5 minutes ahead of time. I got a client yelling at me saying, we need more stuff, blah, blah. And neither one of us know what we're doing, me or the client. Mm-hmm. But we're just like, okay, let's talk. Let's work through this. Let's meet in the middle. Let's solve. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, what I'm doing. So second thing is, I don't know what I'm doing. Therefore, I can't invent. Nobody knows what they're doing. And I'm going to tell you, I've sat with some of the biggest leaders, the president of Campbell's, the president of Pepsi, the president of K-Love, and whether it's a faith-based radio station or the soup we eat every day, they don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. What they do have is a willingness to get into their fear, to sit in their fear and work it. And I think that's the thing I've learned is I'm willing to sit in my fear and not avoid it.
Mm.
I don't get to not have it.
Mm.
Everyone has it. Jesus had it.
Mm.
I mean, he sat there, and said, gosh, like, take this from me.
Mm-hmm.
But he sat in it.
Mm-hmm.
He sat in it. And so I think, to me, so that's that one. Here's the third one. I'm not a self-starter. Listen, as soon as you left your parents' home, you kind of don't get to use that anymore.
Mm.
Like you're an adult, and like you no longer get to say I'm not a self-starter, because that's not how the world works. And this is just what I would say to anybody is like, why I'm not a self-starter. I think you probably need to do some personal work, because when you're 7 and you don't feel like getting off the couch, there's not a real big cause and effect, right? When you're 17 or you're 27 or you're 37 or you're 47 and you choose not to get off the couch, there's a greater cause and effect. So all these things that we talk about of I'm scared, I'm not creative, I don't know the answer, I'm not a self-starter. I think that we're giving ourselves reasons versus sitting in our fear, sitting in our laziness. Who's not? Do you think I want to get up every single day and do this? No. When my alarm goes off and I'm like, I'd rather stay in bed. But for me, the reward of opportunity that I get to bring my family on and my kids on, and we came up here to our lake home, and we got real excited about a pontoon boat, and we started thinking, wouldn't it be neat? We're going to be up here longer now, and there's going to be more time up here. And fortunately, all that hard work, all that sitting in fear, all that getting up early, all that being willing to solve, all those things led to this really unique moment for me where there was extra revenue. Mm-hmm. And it was really neat with that extra revenue. We bought this really beautiful boat, and we've been out on it every night watching the sunset. But everybody's like, oh, it must be nice. I'm like, really? Mm. You think it's fun getting up every day? You think it's fun being on a client yelling at me 3 minutes before I have to get on you and put a big happy face on? I mean, you think that's easy and fun? So anyway, I'm preaching. I'm probably exhausting this to a point, but I just want everybody on this call to know you're not that unique. I'm scared. You're scared. Mm-hmm. I feel lazy. You feel lazy. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to solve things. You don't know how to solve things. So guess what? We all have in common. We're not that special. Mm-hmm. All these things we all have to live with. And then it's just who chooses to sit in it versus avoid it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, guys, this is called a challenge for a reason, because we're challenging your thinking. We're challenging your probably excuses. I mean, that's exactly, and I love, Josh, everything you're saying here, because it's exactly what we need to hear. We use the word pivot a lot, because I believe that during this crisis, a lot of people have pivoted. And I remember when this did first happen. I remember when we talked to you on the phone and you were, oh crap.
Oh yeah.
What am I going to do? And it wasn't, and here I can just say firsthand, because you're my son, and I am proud of you, but I watched you pivot. So you were going one way and you had to find ideas. So I want to talk to the person that's out there today, and maybe they've lost their job. And I know many of you have. Maybe this is the time for you to reinvent yourself. Maybe just everything Josh just said, take the risk. What would you say to somebody that has a really good idea? They don't know where to go with this. There's 1,000 ideas. In some ways, social media now has been flooded with everybody's idea. Swipe up here, buy my product, do this, do that. So how do we get noticed? How do we take the next steps in an idea?
I can only share my story and what allows me to function at a high level. First thing is, and some of this is going to sound cliche, but let's really process it for a minute. Do you love what you're doing? And would you do it for free? And you got to get into a space first that goes, man, I love this stuff. This is fun. This invigorates me. And this doesn't feel like work. And so that's the first thing is, I think too many people try to get noticed and try to make money. And they're really not enjoying what they're doing. And so I think there's a character step first that says I truly believe in what I'm doing and I love doing it. For me, I love developing ideas, developing people, putting them out, watching them grow and evolve. So that's the first thing I would say. I'm a middle child and I'm a C student, which meant I had to always bring people around me. I was never one of those guys that could do stuff on my own. I didn't have I own multiple software companies and I can't write one line of code. I was on with a client the other day and I was like, oh, we can do that. And one of my employees goes, hey, just real quick, If somebody went up to Josh right now and said, we'll give you $1 million if you can log into the back end of any of our products, Josh would lose $1 million. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And he was right. I don't even know how to log in to any of our products. I really believe in the power of team.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing about the power of team. If you really understand how team works, you're not always the show. You don't always get the glory. You don't always get to be the big deal. And so one thing I've learned is if I'm going to execute my goals, first off, I've got to attract amazing people and I've got to share the spotlight. So if you've got a great idea, the first thing you probably need is a whole bunch of winners around you. And if they are winners, then they're going to want to be a part of the win. And so, I've learned just to attract people, bring them in, give them space. So you're sitting here with a great idea. The chances of you being able to execute your idea all on your own is very, very small, or it's just a really small idea, which is not even a bad thing. I mean, if it's a small idea, go do it. But you probably need a bunch of great people. So attract people, give away ownership of the win, and give away ownership of the solve. Yeah. Hey, I don't know how to do this. What would you do? How should we do this? So those are things, if you're sitting here right now and you're like, what's the first thing I do? Write down your idea and all the things you can do and all the things you can't do.
That's good.
Right? And then you go, okay, I know I can do 3 of these, but 4 of them I can't. Who do you know that can do those? Well, I don't know anybody. Okay, who do you know that can help you find those people? So build the team. So that's what I would do. And that's what I do constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here's one that I want to hear your advice on, because you and I have talked about this quite a bit. Because we live in a day of idea opulence. It's so thick. It's everywhere. Everybody's got 100 ideas. And my fault is I come up with a great idea and I don't see it through. Mm-hmm. It's so easy for most of us to get discouraged and to push through, learning how to push through the obstacle instead of folding and going to a new idea. Well, that one didn't work, so let me try it this way. Because we've given each other permission to quit, I think, too much. So what would you say to the person who it is a good idea, but they just said, I tried, that didn't work, and we're on to something else, maybe before it really was going to take off?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, like, you have to, again, if you're just doing something to do it and hope you get rich and famous, you're on a slow boat to China. I mean, it's just the reality, because there are a billion people out there trying to get rich and famous quick. And there's the old, saying, like, no one gets rich quick. And we didn't invent that in our lifetime. It's been even people that you see that all of a sudden have a windfall. Then you look into like their company history and you're like, 20 years ago, we started this company, or back in 2001. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just heard of that. I had no idea they'd been grinding at this for so long. Mm-hmm. So I think the first thing is, like, if you're trying to get rich and famous quick, like, enjoy the ride, better you than me, because I don't want to be doing that. So you got to throw that idea out. The second thing is, this is why I really believe in bringing the right people around. I found in my life, once the idea is birthed into reality, my art goes like this, and then it goes like this. Right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing idea. This is going to be so cool. Like, let's create the name, the brand, the idea, the position, the energy, the videos. And then, okay, we got our first few clients. This is great. All right, now we got more clients. Okay, now we're doing sales now. And I start going like this. Somebody else, when it's like, they're going like this. When I'm doing that, they're going, this is overwhelming. I don't know what this guy's doing. How this guy's insane, blah, blah. And all of a sudden we go, okay, we're getting stable. We're getting infrastructure. We can start to scale this, and theirs starts to go up. So your team, those rhythms have to go like this. And so for me, if the entire idea is built around you and you're a creator, there's probably going to get a time where your energy level is going to start going like this. And that's where your team members start to come in and go, man, this is where I feel most alive, is infrastructure and stability and maintenance and steady Eddie stuff. And so to me, that's where your team goes around and says, it's not so bad if you lose passion, because you probably have a certain seat on the bus, but you better bring the people in that love doing the stuff that you don't, so the idea continue to live. And then you can start to create of, like, how do we reach new audiences? Like, what kind of new products and services can we do inside of this? And so that's, to me, what I've learned is, when my passion starts to go down, I've always noticed other people's passion starts to go up, and I hand it off to them. And then usually whatever I've done continues to live. And that's been really, really cool experience for me.
That's brilliant. And I actually love the analogy because I can see it with people that I put on my team. Rachel, who's on right now, excels in behind the scenes and getting this whole launch going. And as you know, I would have quit day 3 if I had to manage this. So the reason the challenge is doing well is one thing I say, smart people put smarter people around them. And that's great wisdom. Let me ask you this. How do you manage life balance in the midst of?
I don't know. I don't know if I do. I mean, everybody's like, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I do. I think that is a very, very complicated question. And I think people want to give an answer everybody wants to hear. I don't know that I am or that I'm doing it well. I can tell you, I believe in a fully integrated life. That's what I believe in. And I've chosen to live my life that way. So what does that mean? It means all morning long, I've been on calls since 6:30. And we're at our lake house for 3 weeks. And part of me feels like a super cruddy dad. Cause I'm like, oh, like I'm here, like my boys are here. Like, am I failing at being a dad? Because I'm here, right? But I'm here for 3 weeks. It's not like I can just pause life for 3 weeks. But what I am going to do is when I get off this, we're going to go down to the boat and we're going to tube for several hours and we're going to hang out and we're going to laugh and we're going to kayak and we're going to fish. And then I'm going to get on the dock and I'm going to open up my phone and I'm going to do some work while they're jumping off the diving board and hanging out. And I'm not really going to be paying much attention to them. Yeah. And then I'm going to get them on the pontoon boat and we're going to go out. And I just integrate life. I don't really know when I start and stop. And maybe someday we wake up and like my kids hate my guts and they're like, man, Dad. Now, so far, they're pretty stoked. I mean, they're like, you know, now that we're all working from home, I'll go out and play horse 2 or 3 times a day in the middle of the day. This is a new opportunity for me. I mean, normally I'd go away to the office all day long. I'd see them when I got home, you know? So I just believe in fully integration. I don't think life balance is real. I think integration is real. And then you balance inside of integration. I mean, the technology era changed everything. Yeah. It just did. And, you know, if you can have work-life balance if you want a 9 to 5. You really can. Like, if that's what you're looking for, go get a job at a corporate company, you know, and they'll put you in a cube with a badge and they're going to basically say, hey, as long as you work from here to here, you're good. I just didn't want that life. I didn't want that ceiling. I didn't want that monotony. So I chose a life of integration versus balance.
Well, you know, I said on my post today that you were going to bring us new thoughts and strategies. And we've dialogued obviously a lot. Josh and I love to walk together. That's our time and we think. But I love the new way of thinking of this, Josh, because life balance has been a term that we've all sought after for years and years. I've been a life coach for 20 years. I teach on life balance, but I've never really thought about life integration. And I think that's a takeaway for me today. Is instead of trying to make myself the circle and ask myself, am I holistically, I'm getting some hands up from people right now, you know, am I holistically living a balanced life? Maybe the question is, am I integrating everything I love in my life and making sure I'm aware?
And that's the thing is like, you know, you have to integrate the things you care about. And for me, it's like, man, I get up and I get my coffee, I read my Bible, I read some personal development stuff. I go walk down. So walking's a big like thing for me, just a process. And I realized I had all these calls in the morning. I'm like, I love walking. Why am I sitting here? I can go down to Starbucks and back. It's 4.5 miles. And every morning I'm like, I can sit on my chair and do these calls, or I can integrate walking in the morning into my life because I love that. So now I'm on my calls, walking down to Starbucks and back every morning. I've integrated walking. You know, I love starting to work out and I'm like, hey boys, let's do this together. You know, let's go every night. I play 1 game of horse and 1 game of one-on-one with Cruz because he loves basketball every night that I'm home, which is most nights now. And then one night I play, after that, I play 2 games of up to 3 with Cruz and soccer. I've integrated that in. And I said to Kim once, and I know we're going to run out of time here, but I said to Kim once, man, sometimes I feel like I'm a cruddy dad, you know? And she's like, Josh, because of how busy you are 10 times more intentional than any dad that gets in rhythm. And you just kind of it becomes this where every day you're like, okay, how am I integrating the boys in? How am I integrating Kim in? How am I integrating, my spiritual and personal development? How am I integrating in my physical life?
Good.
So I think you're never going to balance life. But you're just not, not if you're listening to this.
Mm.
You're
No.
going to integrate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to stop feeling bad.
Yeah, that's good.
And I
Well,
told Dad that, you guys get heat all the time, because you're not the typical grandparents, right? Like you've kind of chosen a different path. And I'm like, hey, listen, that's your deal, man. You've chosen it. And why sit around and feel bad about it?
mm-hmm.
Are you integrating the things you love? And are you honest enough to know when you're not?
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't. People love lying to themselves. They're really good at it, but
That's a whole nother challenge.
Exactly.
Well, we have 4 minutes left, and I give everyone the opportunity to give us a couple takeaways. So what would be those 3 really quick coaching takeaways that you would give us on our challenge today?
Yeah, you didn't ask me to like pitch your book or anything, or that product, the thing you did in the beginning. Sorry, I'm a little bit disconnected, but I will say this. People really have a difficult time with structure and execution. And I think the first thing I would say is, whether it's your book or something else, like you're going to leave this call hyped up, hopefully excited, whatever, and then life's going to hit, and you're not going to you need to integrate, you need to have a structure. And so the first thing I would say is grab your book, your notebook, or whatever you need. You have to have structure and accountability. So that's the first thing I'd say. Is second thing is, don't ever let yourself off the hook. Like, why would you do that? I mean, just hold yourself to a higher standard. When you're being lazy, call it out. Sometimes it's okay to be lazy, but don't be like, well, I'm not something. The only thing you're not is what you've assigned to yourself that you're not.
That's good.
I don't buy any of that garbage. I'm a C student. I barely got through school. I still can't spell 2-3 syllable words, and I'm doing just fine. So I'm pretty sure most people on here are smarter than me. I'm pretty sure, but maybe what I don't let myself do is get off the hook, And then the last thing I would just say is, man, go find amazing humans to do life with. And love them well, and be vulnerable, and be humble, and say you're sorry a ton. And pride and lack of vulnerability, I think, is absolutely what really is the ceilings in people's lives. I don't want to fail because I'm too proud. I don't want to ask for help because I'm not vulnerable enough, all these things. And I've just decided in my life, I made a guy really mad this week, and I was wrong. And I just ended up hitting him up, and I was like, man, I blew it. I apologize. I need to ask your forgiveness. And he was like, he works for me. And he was like, dude, that was insane. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, there you go.
Good. Well, guys, I wrote so much. It's neat when you get to be fed by your kids, honestly. And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of everyone we have, but I have a special place in my heart for this guy. I know I'm going to be hearing a lot from you guys. Now, we have the privilege, if you're a part of the Q&A time and the VIP time, to jump on a few minutes with Josh. So get your questions ready. And for those of you who are done with us, then we will see you tomorrow at noon. I'm really, really excited. Again, tomorrow, as you know, we've had so many incredible guests. And tomorrow we have Kristen Dalton. A lot of you guys know her as Miss USA. And we're going to talk a little bit about the pressure when everybody's watching you. The pressure when everybody's watching you, and how do you continue to stay energized when you're scrutinized by everybody. So we're going to jump off this call, Josh. We're going to jump off, and then we'll get back on that Zoom call, and we'll go into a Q&A time. Love you guys. Download the journal. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow at noon on this very Facebook page. Love you guys. Have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.